Good evening, I'm Mark Kelly, and this is The National. The latest leak about Donald Trump may be the most serious. It opens him to a criminal accusation. A Conservative senator is exiled by his party after he agreed to dine with Justin Trudeau.
The word betrayal, but also the word treason or treasonous was also used.
Patience wears thin over a major Liberal promise.
The work hasn't even really begun.
Plus, in an Arctic hamlet plagued by suicide, a dance contest helps turn grief into hope. Well, the leaks just keep coming in Washington, and tonight it's in the form of a memo written by the now former FBI Director James Comey before Donald Trump fired him. And what it suggests, if true, could constitute the obstruction of justice by the president. It comes on the same day we learn the intelligence Trump shared with Russia's foreign minister actually came from Israel. Our Lindsay Duncombe is following all of this in Washington. Lindsay, what a day in D.C. Let's start with that explosive memo.
Well, the memo, if true, says that Donald Trump wanted James Comey to stop the investigation into Michael Flynn, who is accused of having ties to Russia. It apparently happened inside the Oval Office while the two men were alone. Donald Trump is reported to have said, "I hope you can let this go. He's a good guy." So why is this a big deal? Well, it's possible to see a case for obstruction of justice here, and that could potentially lead to grounds for impeachment. So remember, Michael Flynn, he is the former NSA advisor who was let go because he misled Vice President Mike Pence over the content of his conversations with the Russian ambassador. And James Comey, of course, the former FBI director, was let go last week. Now, James Comey reportedly took these notes after his meeting with Donald Trump, a formal practice, and the reporters who broke this story haven't seen the memo, Mark. Instead, they've had details read to them by advisors close to James Comey. And tonight, congressional investigators say they want to see this memo if it exists.
Well, it sounds like a chaotic evening. In fact, we can actually hear some of this, whatever's going on behind you there, Lindsay, outside the White House. But what is the White House actually saying tonight about this memo?
Well, the message from the White House tonight is that this simply isn't true. They say that Donald Trump supports law enforcement and supports investigations, and they are saying flatly that these accusations simply didn't happen. However, this is a White House with a credibility problem, and that is something that we saw play out again today. If you look at the fallout from the meeting that Donald Trump had with the Russian foreign minister.
Mr. President, can you comment on Russia?
As Donald Trump welcomes another world leader to the White House, this time the president of Turkey, there is growing concern allies can't trust this president, this White House. Trump doesn't seem to get it.
Well, we had a very, very successful meeting with the foreign minister of Russia. Our fight is against ISIS.
But at that meeting, it's been reported Trump, apparently off the cuff, revealed details of an ISIS plot involving airplanes. The New York Times reported today the source of that information was Israeli intelligence, a key Middle Eastern ally unlikely to be thrilled to share secrets with Russia, given that country's ties to Iran.
The damage is that this country may cut off any kind of intelligence provided to the United States on very sensitive issues that relate to the national security of this country. That's the damage that can be done here.
This latest controversy again complicated by muddled messaging from the White House. Last night, the National Security Advisor dismissed the story.
I was in the room. It didn't happen.
Only to have the commander-in-chief confirm in a tweet this morning he did share facts pertaining to terrorism and airline flight safety in an effort to get Russia to step up the fight against ISIS, something the president said he had the absolute right to do. But critics say it wasn't his information to share, it was Israel's. Still, the script seemed to be unified by mid-morning.
It's wholly appropriate for the president to share whatever information he thinks is necessary to advance the security of the American people. That's what he did.
Democrats are outraged.
If it was unwitting, that would be pathetic and dangerous. If it was intentional, That would even be, I don't know what's worse.
President Trump is tearing down our national security and intelligence protections 140 characters at a time.
What seems to be different about this crisis is that some Republicans are openly questioning the president. Senate Foreign Relations Chair Bob Corker said the White House was in a downward spiral. And from the Senate Majority Leader, a plea.
I think it would be helpful to have less drama emanating from the White House.
And Mark, that call was before the news of the Comey memo broke. But what's been really interesting to watch about both of these stories is how Trump supporters are reacting. Many of them see this as the work of the deep state. That is what they call intelligence agents and bureaucrats who they believe are working with the mainstream media to get rid of Donald Trump. And I can tell you, standing out here in front of the White House, I've had a couple of very polite Trump supporters tell me this is fake news.
All right, well, the story won't end here, but thanks so much. Lindsay Duncombe in Washington tonight. Well, during Trump's meeting with Erdogan, each leader went to great lengths to publicly praise the other.
Today at the White House, it is a great honor to have you with us. Thank you.
In turn, Erdogan praised Trump for his legendary triumph. But the meeting happened against the backdrop of a recent U.S. decision to arm a Syrian Kurdish group that Turkey sees as an extension of the outlawed PKK. While not directly condemning the decision, Erdogan said the group will never be accepted in the region. Well, the Conservative caucus in the Senate is down a member tonight after the party's leader in the upper chamber kicked out Stephen Green. The Nova Scotia senator's indiscretion, accepting an invitation to dinner with the Prime Minister. Hannah Thibodeau has that story.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the government representative in the Senate, Peter Harder, planned a dinner party here in the parliamentary restaurant for a group of senators to thank them for getting legislation passed. The only Conservative on the guest list, Senator Stephen Green.
I would accept a dinner invitation from any Prime Minister who offered one.
Problem is, that PM is a Liberal. And so Green says he was ambushed by the Conservative leader in the Senate and handed an ultimatum: ditch his dinner plans or get out of the Tory caucus.
I was disappointed, crushed a little bit.
Green is the only Conservative senator who sponsored a government bill during this parliamentary session. It's a piece of legislation that essentially changed the tax law. He sponsored almost an identical bill during the Harper years. But this time, Green was told he wasn't being a Tory team player.
The word betrayal, but also the word treason or treasonous was also used, too.
The Conservative leader in the Senate, Larry Smith, delivered the take-it-or-leave-it offer to Green.
He wasn't ambushed. We've talked to Stephen over the past months.
Smith says Green has been straying too far from the party line, and this was the last straw.
When you're dealing with people in terms of behavioral issues, and this was, in our mind, he had a choice he had to make. You can't be half in or half out.
Smith accuses Green of working with Peter Harder to eventually get rid of the opposition in the Senate. Harder says Green wants to make the Red Chamber more transparent and accountable.
Senator Green was amongst those senators who was very much working for a modern Senate that was less partisan and more independent.
Green wanted to stay in caucus, so he offered to come back and give his Conservative colleagues a bird's eye view of what happened at dinner. The Tories felt like he chose the other guys, so he's out. Now Green will sit as an independent Reform senator. Hannah Thibodeau, CBC News, Ottawa.
A much more congenial tone on the other side of Parliament Hill today as the woman who has led the Conservative Party for the last 18 months made her resignation official. As we told you last night, Rona Ambrose is leaving federal politics. And now tributes are pouring in from colleagues on both sides of the House of Commons.
Your confidence and strong leadership has been a true inspiration, not only to me, but to a whole generation of young women striving to make their mark in the world.
We will be forever grateful for the heart, humor, and hard work she shared with us these past 12 years. You will be missed by all of us.
I want to say what an honor it's been to serve in this great place. So thank you. I've enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you.
Next stop for Ambrose, Washington. She's joining a think tank to work on U.S.-Canada trade issues. Air travelers should be treated like people, not numbers. Transport Minister Marc Garneau said that today as he introduced new legislation on passengers' rights.
When Canadians buy an airline ticket, they expect the airline to keep its part of the deal. When the terms of the agreement are not fulfilled, travelers should be entitled to clear, transparent, fair, and timely and enforceable compensation.
That means, among other things, airlines would not be allowed to bump passengers off their flight. For those who voluntarily agree to change their flight, there would be minimum compensation levels for overbooking, as well as for lost or damaged baggage. And airlines would have to seat children under 14 near their parent or guardian at no extra charge. Coming up, mounting frustration over the government's promise on missing and murdered Indigenous women.
It wasn't until I was about 26 years old that I met an Indigenous woman who said she had never been sexually abused.
The problems still loom larger than the solutions. A First Nation in southern Alberta has taken a bold step to stop fentanyl from entering its territory. The rural community has seen too many overdoses and drug-related deaths, so it's putting power in the hands of local police to keep outsiders out. Carolyn Dunn explains.
Forget about a welcome sign at the Kainai First Nation. This is what now greets anyone driving in. A message aimed at outsiders trying to bring in fentanyl.
We have gone through a crisis. It is still with us. Some very serious drugs. We're killing our people.
So they've enacted a new bylaw that allows police to eject any non-band member who hasn't registered and purchased a permit. In the past few years, there have been hundreds of overdoses, dozens of deaths from fentanyl. Local police figure they can handle local drug dealers, but it's people from neighboring towns and cities bringing in big stashes to the reserve. Addicts and users harbor them while they sell to a captive market. A crisis that has caused this community of 4,700 to declare a state of emergency.
There was just death after death from overdose, and I just think so many people got involved in the use of fentanyl, not even really realizing what they were, getting themselves involved in.
And then just right there, I just stopped cold turkey.
Cassidy Whitefeathers, herself a recovering opioid user, lost a dear friend to a fentanyl overdose.
She OD'd in her dad's vehicle.
Gina Chiefmoon, a 27-year-old mother of 3 young children, was declared brain dead and removed from life support a few days later.
I begged Gina. I beg her not to take drugs.
Gina's grandmother is still having a hard time believing her granddaughter is really gone.
She's supposed to go to a treatment that day. She never went. She never made it.
Gina Chiefmoon's family and friends are heartbroken, like so many others here, hoping the latest attempt to stem the flow of dangerous drugs works.
It's not normal to have people ODing every day, to just pretend it's not happening in our communities to our loved ones.
Right now, a little bit of normal would be welcome. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Kainai First Nation, Alberta.
Protecting the world's computer networks was the lesson of the day in Winnipeg. Less than a week after hundreds of thousands of users were taken down by a cyber attack, the next generation is honing its skills in hopes it can spot the next big hack. Cameron McIntosh explains.
So no, that's just placeholder. Yeah.
Looking deep into the code, these teens are the next line of cyber defense.
I'm looking for IP addresses that I know aren't ours.
High school students like Olivia Ferreira, learning how to out-hack the hackers.
I just think it's fun and it's kind of cool. You always see people in films that are like super scary hackers, and I was like, wow, I want to do that.
This is the Canadian Cyber Challenge, 24 high school teams competing in a fictional security scenario.
My father became very, very rich in a time
where this pretend Russian businessman claims to be under cyber attack.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Okay.
The kids start pouring through his servers.
They learn that being in the space of solving technical issues in and of itself is not enough. They're trying to solve a business problem for a business that has their systems or their data compromised.
It parallels last week's real-life example of the WannaCry ransomware attack. infecting computers in 150 countries, even knocking out hospitals and transit systems. Today, Google said the program contained code once used by a group associated with North Korea.
It seemed pretty unsophisticated.
Kevin Mitnick knows hacking. In 1995, he was known as the world's most wanted hacker after stealing billions of dollars of information. Now he's a white hat, a good hacker, a global security expert. Speaking at the same event in Winnipeg, he says there's lessons for everyone in that attack.
It was widespread because businesses didn't patch for the bug, and there were a lot of employees that fell for their phishing attacks.
These kids are learning to see an attack coming, or any other twists the code may reveal.
We're pretty clear there's something shady going on here.
Kyle Ondrasik's team has figured out Alexei isn't quite the victim he made himself out to be.
The $1 million transactions to offshore banking accounts. There's a lot of evidence piling up here.
That's what the experts say is at the heart of good cybersecurity, seeing the real story inside the code. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Straight ahead, Indigenous women who have had it with promises.
I am sure you agree that we should talk frankly to each other. Frankness, in good spirit, is a measure of friendship.
The issues and irritants that inevitably affect all neighbors are small indeed in comparison with the issues that we face together.
Our friendship is deep and our understanding is great, but we have many problems, of course.
But a day which also saw what looked like the beginning of a fundamental friendship between Mr. Trudeau and President Nixon.
This is a new era of consultation and, we hope, cooperation.
Some American officials seemed appalled as Canadian security allowed demonstrators within yards of the first meeting between Prime Minister Trudeau and the President.
Canadians expect much of Americans, but more important, Canadians have faith in the Americans.
The Prime Minister was here to tell President Reagan what he was telling Canadian voters for the past few months, that he wants to restore not just good relations, but what he calls super relations between Canada and the U.S.
From President Clinton, there was no limit to the praise and the admiration he expressed for Prime Minister Chrétien.
Under your wise leadership, Mr. Prime Minister, relations between the United States and Canada have never been closer or more constructive.
He's a good guy, and I enjoyed to be with him.
4 years, 3 weeks, and 2 days since first being elected U.S. president, and George Bush said hello to Canada.
I frankly felt like the reception we received on the way in from the airport was very warm and hospitable, and I want to thank the Canadian people who came out to wave with all 5 fingers for
Obama! Obama!
The purpose of the trip was that Stephen Harper and Barack Obama have some time to get to know each other and discuss whether they shared an agenda and some objectives.
I came to Canada on my first trip as president to underscore the closeness and importance of the relationship between our two nations. We see ourselves in each other. We're guided by the same values.
And like all great, enduring friendships, at our best, we bring out the best in one another.
The inquiry into the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls was heralded as a symbol of renewed trust between Canada and its Aboriginal peoples. But instead, less than a year after it launched, there is doubt, distrust, and disappointment. The latest report card from the Native Women's Association of Canada gives the inquiry a failing grade on most fronts: communication, timelines, resources, and the list goes on. But as Margot McDermott reports, despite growing frustration, there is still a willingness to see the process through.
I can't even count the number of times that I've been in some very dangerous, precarious situations that I'm lucky to have escaped.
Art is a safe place for Jamie Coble. It calms her memories of a difficult early life. Coble is Métis. She grew up with her family in Lac La Biche in northern Alberta. But her life changed forever at a house party when she was 15.
The next thing I remember was waking up with somebody on top of me.
She was raped repeatedly by boys from her high school.
And so I stopped going to school. I stopped working.
Coble was so traumatized, she ran away from home to a relative in Edmonton. Her parents didn't call or try to find her. She's discovered she's one of many who've been through this.
It wasn't until I was about 26 years old, 27 years old, that I met an Indigenous woman who said she had never been sexually abused, and I didn't believe her. Every single Aboriginal woman that I had known had been sexually abused. This is the very first drama I ever did.
Coble believes her story can help a national inquiry into violence against Indigenous women and girls, but the hearings are slow to get going.
It was frustrating to figure out that this is just really right in the beginning, and that the work hasn't even really begun when it comes to making my story count.
I understand the impatience and the frustration.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has repeatedly promised to investigate the safety of Indigenous women. The government launched the inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls with much fanfare last August. 5 commissioners have 2 years and $53 million to hold public hearings with families and survivors. It was seen as a key building block in Trudeau's efforts towards reconciliation with Indigenous people. But it's had a rocky start. Francine Joe, the acting president of the Native Women's Association, gave the commission a failing grade in a report released today. One of the biggest issues, a lack of communication, leaving families wondering what's going on.
We were confused, really, and now we're at a point where we're extremely frustrated.
Sources say the commission is disorganized. There's infighting. Staff are spread across the country, and they're so cautious that little information gets out. Thousands of Indigenous women are missing or have been murdered in Canada. Many families see the inquiry as their last hope, but it says it needs time to meet those expectations.
It would be nothing to go blow into town, set up an inquiry, say people come, give us your story and blow out of town. But that's not doing the national inquiry in the way that we want to do it.
Wanique Horn-Miller has been meeting with the families to prepare for the hearings. She admits that communication has been a problem, and she understands the anger that flared up recently when the inquiry pushed the bulk of testimony from survivors and family members to the fall.
We are, forging a path and trying our best to do it in an Indigenous way, and that is something that's never been done before.
We don't have enough time at this point to be postponing these types of meetings.
And the Liberal government could wear this politically. This week, a coalition of families and Indigenous groups sent a highly critical letter to the head of the commission, saying, "We request that you substantially rework your approach in order to regain trust and ensure that families are no longer feeling re-traumatized in this process."
If this inquiry fails, we're going to chalk it up as Indigenous people to just another failure due to colonialism to the government. And it's going to be hard to repair that type of relationship.
Jamie Coble remembers when her 3 children performed the day Justin Trudeau was sworn in as Prime Minister, and the hope she felt when his government announced the inquiry. So she's hanging on to that despite the problems. She's determined to tell her story.
I think that a lot of people will choose not to testify, and I think that people will just be tired and not trusting the process because it's already been so uncertain and unsteady.
Margot McDermott, CBC News, Ottawa.
And to further underscore problems with the inquiry, there's not even agreement on the number of victims. The RCMP puts the number as high as 1,200. The Native Women's Association of Canada puts it closer to 4,000. To date, fewer than 300 families have chosen to take part in the process. Coming up next, a rare slice of life in Canada's Arctic. They rehearse for a dance competition as if their lives depend on it. You'll see why the stakes are so high and the payoff so rewarding. First, let's take a look at the day's business numbers. The TSX dropped 86 points. The dollar was up 1/4 cent. In New York, the Dow lost 2 points, but NASDAQ hit a record high. The price of oil fell 19 cents a barrel.
Showing off some skin has moved from the TV screens to the streets and now to the schools.
It's a hot day. It's very hot. A hot day.
Too hot for some anxious principals.
You know, it was causing a distraction, there's no question.
She sent home this note. Keep the underwear hidden. No exposed boxer shorts. No wayward bra straps.
I think that we're perverted. Like some guy will go, whoa.
From the archives of CBC News.
If a girl should know how to dress for school, I think it's up to them, really. And tight sweaters, well, they're not very good, I don't think. I'd rather see a girl wearing blouses and stuff like that.
Do you enjoy wearing miniskirts?
Yeah. Well, I don't really prefer them on girls, but also I think it's just that it modernizes the way the girls dress.
The skirt rises up when you sit down, so you have to put your books something on your knees or something to hold it down.
I just don't like the idea of them wearing way up here. It's not right.
That was Barbara Emile getting the long and short of the miniskirt story.
School's back all over the country now. Did today's back-to-schoolers reject the dictates of the department stores? Here on What's New, we took a look at how kids actually went back to school this fall, and what we saw were students like these.
You can read a book in jeans, you can go to school in jeans, you can roll down a hill in jeans, you can do whatever you want in jeans.
In the late 60s, there was pressure on the schools to relax dress codes. Shorter skirts, pants for girls, and eventually jeans were allowed for everybody.
The freedom that the children have known for the past 15 years has been just a little bit too much.
The parents have decided to adopt a uniform this year.
They do seem to be more serious.
And we work harder because we look better.
Teachers don't really know whether uniforms make any difference to the children's schoolwork, but both teachers and parents hope the uniform is here to stay.
I guess I was brought up different than most kids. I just don't believe in wearing stuff that's vulgar, as my mother calls it.
A piece of film was supposed to have been cut to open this year's Festival of Festivals, but the organizers couldn't find any, so an old-fashioned ribbon was used instead.
This evening, the gala premiere belongs to a Canadian film, Ticket to Heaven. A number of limousines have pulled up with well-dressed people. Unfortunately, nobody seems to know who they are.
Despite the problems, after the film, it was party time, and there was everything you'd expect at a showbiz bash. Stars, booze, good-looking women, good-looking men, people dancing to the music of Martha and the Muffins, and more booze.
It's warm beatty night at the Festival of Festivals, where the spotlight shines on everyone. The ushers at the theater had their hands full. It was their job to make sure the fans and the stars didn't collide. But when the big black Continental pulled up to the curb, there was no stopping the autograph hounds.
I'm very proud of myself from restraining myself from attempting to wrestle him to the ground, because it's exactly what I wanted to do.
This was opening night, a gala for the North American premiere of Joshua Then and Now. There were Klieg lights and limousines, but there were also some charming down-home touches. The star, James Woods, arrived with his proud parents, who came in from Rhode Island for the event.
Now the oh-so-cool set have decreed Canada's little festival that could a must. That, of course, is Robin Williams, Claudia Schiffer.
It's the only film festival in the world where you see all of the most important films. You see a whole year come in advance.
As un-Canadian as it is to gloat, movie critic Roger Ebert says go right ahead.
Yeah, it's okay, Canada. It's okay. It's a real big, real good festival.
So we're gonna try and dance again this year with funny moves. And it will remind people to keep going and going, not to give up.
This next story is something special, an intimate portrait of life in an Arctic hamlet called Arviat, as teens prepare to compete in an annual dance competition. Life can be hard there, and far too often it has driven young people to suicide. But this isn't a sad story. It's about turning grief into joy and tapping into an ancient art form to find new reasons to live. Here's Dancing Towards the Light.
Ready? Okay.
My life changed to my dance.
When I'm angry or when I'm sad, I just go there and dance it off.
I use my dancing as a tool for my emotions. Every time I dance, it dedicates to someone who I love. December 16, 17 ngulakpat. Ako'y taktichigo niya for nguyareli group as a team. Itireato ni tendado karuma. Amak tudlo nutakalalo anano yu itir niya ayaw niya. Nipik ko tutkamya na mango. Toha agi. Without teen dance here in Alpha, it would have been a boring town. People would here in the weekend, they would not know what to do, where to go. When I dance, I think about other people. Once you start remembering the people who you lost, or once you start thinking of them like that, you'll know how to dance. Just like that. My late best friend that committed suicide in 2015, Johnny Jr. Kinnup. He was my best friend for 15 years. I ran with him in the Terry Fox Marathon. Last time I saw him, I was proud of him. Never saw him again.
Outraged with everything that just happened, and I just put headphones on and just start dancing, and it calms me down. Or when I'm sad, I just put on some music and just start dancing.
1, 2,
Talk to that.
Talk to her. Yeah, but I feel good about myself when I dance.
The whole idea for the competition, we were gonna dance for my dad's late father. His name is Ihmatakya. Inuktitut name Ihmatakya. Our group name is Ihmatakya Granddaughters. He used to drum dance all the time. He was just always filled with happiness when he was dancing. We love dancing, and it was our way of connecting. Last year it wasn't fair for us because they were just goofing around, they were dancing. Like, we practice and we come up with moves, our own moves, and it's a lot of work. I hope it's different this year.
Miracles can happen.
Lots of people asked us to dance again this year. We weren't going to, but some kid came to me and said, "Please dance again, because I love the way you move." I came to my half brother here. He said yes, so we're gonna try and dance again this year with funny moves, and it will remind people to keep going and going, not to give up. Hey! Thanks.
Ang yata mai này, ya to tutto. Ya ngata ma katulog. Amma mumigatino sen, iging yalu. Yo timinuta. Nangay yalu tin. Kung atitita ma katulog. I got cousins and friends who committed suicide. Sometimes I want to follow them, but I still keep going because that's not the answer. Yes, that's not the answer. Udang ichama no no. Udang ichama de. Pinang itu tawa tu malu. Kaya tu layang yun. Coach me yo da kadu piulo at yo. Hindi ko yo kaya yo ni tama.
Suicide is a huge problem here in this town. We lost so many friends. My best friend, Johnny, committed suicide.
Panos ng Finland. Ito ko na tunang ito kapag panos ng namat.
Malahigit na. 7:30. Yeah, early.
Thank you for supporting the annual dance competition. Bigyan na nakapta. Ya pekan na kaluk puila kaluk kita piyugapta. Kihani umatit tinatay na yuyut. Atay nang na Leonis ihumagilugo 1 minute ni pailaw naka. Amata na ingminyan ato kaya kang nilarito. Aming huyano ta na ato gawin manak to halaw yun ba siya. So thank you. Ulit sana half brother.
Before, I was just a quiet guy, shy guy. But now I'm not shy anymore because I want people to be more happier.
I feel like I'm a role model. Little girls in town come up to me now to go hug me or kiss me or take a picture with me. They tell their parents that they love our dancing or they love to become me when they grow up.
It's your granddaughter, okay? Dana Andy Ivalo, you took the hook to Lola, don't take it man.
Comitanza di forze. Siamo sempre noi a decidere chi siamo, 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 chi siamo.
The way I dance to the people who I dedicated to, it honors them. Once they see me dancing to them, they feel happy, respected, care, friendship.
Mummy Yukuni, Junga Hukil, and the Ivaluario. No Kangaloga Yate, 50 minutes. They were not in there, like Pukitu, Hala Kamagata, Takuninga. Tonight, winner 2016, Takwa Mumiyulat. Isumatagyo granddaughter, $2,000 winner.
Once we support each other, all of us, we can stop suicide. Once we stop, we can spread it.
For an interactive treatment of this story, you can go to cbcnews.ca. At one point, a father says, "You are loved. Don't be silent. Talk about it." If you or anyone you know needs help, it is available. On this page, you'll find a toll-free number for the First Nations and Inuit Hope for Wellness Helpline. Inuktitut services are available through the Kamat Siaktut Helpline. And we also have the number for Kids Help Phone. Awesome piece. Now stay tuned for Viewpoints and a warning about the pitfalls on two-tier healthcare. This time, the divide isn't about rich and poor.
This is the story of building the Trans Mountain Pipeline. Between Jasper and Red Pass, a start is made. All the latest weapons employed by engineers in modern pipeline construction converge on the theaters of war. The enemy, one by one, toppling to echoing cries of timber. And the steel monsters arrive. To 140 sidings from Edmonton to Vancouver, 5,000 railway flat cars bring their loads of pipes, and then to their individual prearranged spots in the continuous chain. They're linked together by a complicated process that assures 100% accuracy. The pipe is 24 inches in diameter, and every inch of it must be evenly coated, and then checked and rechecked. Then a wrapping is added, made from glass, felt, and asbestos, as the men observe their finished product laid to rest. A continuous tube, liquid railway, stretching 718 miles.
The big question is, of course, whether there is life on Mars, and the short answer is that it's not impossible.
No one knows what Mars really looks like, but this week, streaming back from deep space is the best information in history, bringing us nearer the answers concerning the origin of life, whether man is something special or a special freak.
The search for life on Mars is still continuing. Data received from the Viking landers have puzzled NASA scientists, and within the past 2 days, they've been able to confirm that the ice caps of Mars are really frozen water, not carbon dioxide as once believed. So the chances of finding life get better with each passing day.
Its past was hostile and torn by meteors. Its present is cold and barren. A colony here would seem a futile fantasy. But today's dreamers are scientists, and they do their dreaming for NASA.
I think the possibility of Mars as a second home for mankind is very important for our future as a race.
The students are building a prototype Martian colony called Marsville. It's on Earth, but they do understand what it will take to settle on Mars.
The temperature on Mars is a lot colder than on Earth.
And these students understand cooperation is the only way to get to Mars.
I mean, with all of the technology they have now, we could have somebody go up pretty soon.
They've come from all over the world for this meeting of the International Mars Society. They've got bumper stickers. They've got a Martian flag already picked out.
The one question that always comes up is this: is it worth the many billions more to put people on the surface of the red planet rather than just machines?
The Mars fans here admit the barriers are huge, but they also say we have the capability and the money to get to Mars. All we need now is the will to do it.
To find out more, we need to go out into space, and space research, like politics, is the art of the possible. What we would like to do must be weighed against what we can do.
Hi, I'm Jessie Hirsch. I'm a technology futurist, writer, and researcher, and I want to talk to you about how technology is splitting our healthcare system into two tiers. Fixing Canada's beloved but overburdened healthcare system has been our national obsession for decades. And one of its saviors? Technology. Advances in technology will help us live longer, diagnose illnesses faster, use healthcare resources more efficiently, and maybe even prevent people from getting sick in the first place. But here's the thing. Not everyone will have access to health technology or understand how to use it. For years, Canadians have been worried about our healthcare system splitting into two tiers. But this has already started to happen. But rather than public versus private, it's techno-literate versus illiterate. If you or your doctor have a high level of tech literacy, you'll get a far more successful level of care than if you or your doctor have a low level of tech literacy. Now, what do I mean by tech literacy? Think of the internet and technology in general as a constant learning curve. There's no finish line, no end to technological development. There will always be new advances. So the ability to understand new healthcare technology and the way it's evolving has had a huge impact on patient care. For example, technology is making diagnosis of health issues far easier. Researchers are finding ways to use artificial intelligence to identify and treat strokes. Others have developed algorithms to diagnose depression and other mental health issues. And then there's IBM's Jeopardy-winning supercomputer Watson. It has helped doctors detect cancer and suggest treatments with far greater success and scale than health professionals could do alone. Because Watson is able to read and synthesize the latest medical literature, as well as massive amounts of clinical data, at a scale and volume that humans simply cannot. But not all cancer patients have access to Watson. The difference in care between those who do and those who don't is significant and growing. So how do we ensure everyone has access to this technology-driven healthcare? Will we abandon our commitment to universality? Tragically, yes, if we don't openly discuss this crisis in Canadian healthcare. And it's not just about doctors. Patients need to be active in their healthcare, which also means understanding their options when it comes to health technology. In Canada, the patients who have had access to emerging tools like Watson are the ones who have pushed for and demanded it. As a result, our beloved healthcare system is becoming fractured between those who are engaged with the new world of medicine and those who aren't. For The National, I'm Jessie Hirsch.
I'm Anna Maria Tremonti. Tomorrow on The Current, we bring you the story of a Canadian public servant named Bob Monroe and the transformative amateur soccer league he began in the slums of Nairobi, Kenya. That's on The Current, weekdays at 8:30 on CBC Radio 1.
The amazing Alouette has outperformed anything that's been shot into space since the Russians started it with Sputnik 1. The mere fact that it's still faithfully sending back messages from the top side of the ionosphere is enough to make it remarkable. When it was launched in September of 1962, its designers figured that with luck it would operate for a year. As of right now, it's been in orbit for 5 years and 7 months, and 3 of the 6 original batteries are still working.
It was a picture that Canadian engineers had waited 6 years to see, and for which Canadian taxpayers paid $100 million. A giant space robot with Canada's name on it and the Earth above. The remote manipulator system performing perfectly.
Okay, and be advised that we're looking at a great picture.
Good evening. It was a spectacular liftoff and a history-making day for Canada. The shuttle Challenger blasted off the pad at Cape Canaveral at dawn. On board, astronaut Marc Garneau, the very first Canadian in space.
This trip into space for me has turned out to be more than ever I could have hoped for. It's a great honor for me to represent Canada in space.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery and the first International Microgravity Laboratory.
Good evening. There's a Canadian in the heavens tonight, Roberta Bonder, going around in circles and entirely happy about it. Canada's second astronaut in space. She's orbiting planet Earth about 300 kilometers straight up. She left from this space center this morning, 59 minutes later than scheduled, but after a lifetime of anticipation, those minutes probably won't mean very much in the long run.
Incredible view.
A crucial spacewalk took place in the skies above us early today, and Canadian astronaut Julie Payette was in charge. Payette coordinated the mission from onboard the Space Shuttle Discovery.
History was made high in the sky today. For the very first time, a Canadian walked in space. Early this morning, astronaut Chris Hadfield began installing Canadarm2, and with it, launched a new era for the International Space Station.
With great humility and pleasure, I accept command of the International Space Station.
Get back soon.
The National.
The National.
Tonight.
Well, the long, bitter fight over keeping whales and dolphins at the Vancouver Aquarium is over. Going forward, none of the aquatic mammals will be taken in for any reason. Animal rights activists call it a major victory. Others, including scientists, call it a big mistake, one that may actually doom animals to unnecessary deaths. Craig Rasmussen explains.
We have a 50-year history of rescuing animals, and we don't want it to stop tonight.
It's not every day that people turn out to support keeping whales in captivity, but that's exactly what's happening here.
Science first! Science first!
Hundreds rally in the pouring rain to support the non-profit Vancouver Aquarium in its battle against its landlord, the Vancouver Park Board.
We're in full support of the Vancouver Aquarium, and especially this guy right here, Chester.
Every animal matters.
In this case, saving the whales is what both sides say they're trying to do.
All in favor.
Cheered on by animal rights activists, the Vancouver Park Board brought in a new bylaw. No new whales, dolphins, or other cetaceans can ever be brought into the aquarium under any circumstances.
And at the end of the day, this is not a political decision. This is the right decision.
For years, a vocal group of activists have been pushing for this type of ban. Recently, the 2 remaining belugas in Vancouver died from a mystery toxin, fueling the controversy.
It's really important to us that someone, namely those commissioners, expended some political currency and actually took a stand.
On the other side, this false killer whale has become the poster child for the battle.
1, 2, 3.
Rescued near death. Now rehabilitated. The aquarium warns animals like this will have nowhere to live under the new ban. They say they're acting in the best interest of the cetaceans by doing this.
They are absolutely wrong. There's no question. This is a ridiculous, if that's the justification, this is a ridiculous way to do that.
Activists say it's all a smokescreen to keep the creatures on display, a big draw and moneymaker. But the aquarium vows to fight on.
That if we let it stop here, we give up on the animals that need help the most.
Activists say the aquarium shouldn't be the only option for distressed animals. But the aquarium says for now it faces a tough choice. Either violate the new bylaw or euthanize animals on the beach. Greg Rasmussen, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, the debate over captive marine mammals is sure to continue, but aquariums could help save one critically endangered species. Vaquitas are the world's smallest porpoises. Native to Mexican waters, they often get tangled up in illegal fish nets and drown. Only about 30 adults remain, but an emergency captive breeding program is now underway to try to save them. The U.S. Navy will help locate surviving vaquitas. Then they'll be sent to a breeding facility in Baja California. Another peril for marine species is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, full of toxic plastics and chemical sludge. It's basically a floating poison and believed to be about the size of the state of Texas. But a young Dutch inventor believes he has the answer. Here's the pitch. First, floating barriers would encircle the garbage and then rein it in. Then it could be towed to shore and disposed of. He's already raised about $30 million for a prototype. That's the National for this Tuesday night. For news at any hour, you can always go to our website, cbcnews.ca. I'm Mark Kelly. Thanks for watching.